from beautiful Chicago. One of my favorites. That is the bean behind here. Years ago, about 2006 or 4 or 5, I can't remember when, I took a photo of underneath the bean, which I later painted, and that painting is now on my wall. If you don't know who I am, you probably don't, if you randomly found me. I am the best-selling author of 2 books, Never Work Again and 90 Days to Profit. I'm an entrepreneur. I own 3 companies. I've traveled a lot over a couple of years, last 7 years. I've spent most of my time traveling and living what it doesn't depend on you, and travel the world and live with freedom lifestyle. And it actually takes a lot less money than you think. But let's go inside here. It's going to be quite noisy. Let's see how it looks underneath the bean. It's pretty funky, especially when you get to the center of the bean. You see, and there's lots of people here, lots and lots of people, but you can get some really cool paintings based on the underside of the bean. So this is based in Millennium Park. There's usually lots of tourists, and there is. So what I like doing in Chicago, well, what I like doing is I like cycling around on the DV bikes. One tip there is to actually register online and not in the app if you're an international user. If you're a US user, you can just read inside the app and everything will work for you. However, I don't have a US credit card, so I had to spend about an hour with customer support to try to get that working again. I really like Chicago. The reason I like Chicago is because it's a slice of New York. It's about 1/8 of New York in terms of skyline. And you have this beautiful Lake Michigan that you can cycle along up and down, and it's really, really cool. There's also a lot of museums, a lot of free museums. You have access to all the things that you have in New York, comedy clubs, etc. It's slightly cheaper, it's slightly more accessible, and it's a great atmosphere. I'm not dissing New York. I love New York also. I spent a lot of time in New York. I've always liked Chicago as well. If I was to choose where to live between those 2 cities, I would choose Chicago, just because I find it a little bit more relaxing whilst still maintaining the sort of big city feel. So a couple of tips in terms of starting a business is, one is just get started testing, trying, and bear in mind that it will take a little bit of time for you to build your first business. And give it, anything from 3 to 5 years. If you focus on it on a consistent basis over 3 to 5 years, you should be able to build enough income to free yourself from your job and travel the world. If you want to learn more about that, you can read my best-selling book, Never Work Again. And this was the Bean in Chicago, and we also have the Frank Gehry Museum behind here, which is also beautiful. And there's lots and lots of things to do in Chicago. You got to do the Riverwalk. You got to do the cycling along the promenade. And I would avoid the deep pan pizza. I'm not a fan. Maybe you are. I didn't like it. So enjoy beautiful Chicago. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to try to turn this off. Maybe I press X.